Day 1023. It is 9:39 p.m. Just got home from church. X18 group, that's the discipleship program group thing. Yeah, that was great. Did my Warriors of God call. So I went and had just went and met for coffee with one of the guys from my group, and had a really amazing conversation with him. It was awesome. And then went back to the church and was getting some work done, and started working on the Warriors of God class that I was going to teach tonight. And I just started diving in and just got some inspiration of, what stops us from going all in, what stops us from giving our heart fully to the things that we're doing in our life. Because I had the Warriors go through and write down what percentage that they give, like out of 1 to 100, and the average was like 40%. And I was right there with them. And so tonight I was going to go over, well, what is it that stops you from giving 100%? What is it that stops you from giving your all? What is it that stops you from putting your whole heart into everything that you do? And I was walking myself through the exercise, and it was intense. Like it was powerful, and it was intense, and it brought up some pain. I wrote down all the things that I've ever gone all in on, all the things I've given 100% to, whether it's a person, a business, an idea, a friendship, a relationship, whatever it is. And I wrote them all down, and there was a lot of pain there. And came to the realization that I don't go all in. I don't give 100%, because to me, everything I've given 100% to has broken my heart. Whether it's a person or a job or whatever it is. I've just, like, over the years, like, when I go all in, when I give my heart to something, it usually gets broken. And that's why it was so hard for me to give my heart to Jesus, because it was like, if you're not real and I give my heart to you, like, what hope is there? And every time my heart gets broken, I lose hope. And so it's like I've been in, so many situations with people or projects or whatever, or jobs that I've had, where I just came in and I gave it my all, and it ended up like just not being the thing. And I look at that in relationships. Like, I've been in relationships where I gave my all, and it's like, that was hard. It's just like, again and again and again, getting my heart broken again and again and again. And what I realized is that giving my heart to something and then it getting broken creates hopelessness. It destroys the hope. That's why it's like, for me, like, even thinking about, my future wife, it's like, nah, no hope around that. Like, it's like hard to even believe that kind of woman exists, because there's just like so much hopelessness when it comes to my belief around, like, finding that woman that I would give my life to, that I would actually give my heart to again. Like, I've had my heart broken enough times to know better. And so it's like learning about that, and yeah, it was just a really crazy exercise. And it was interesting, because I was the only one at the church. The pastors left, and they let me know. And so I was there at the church by myself for like a few hours. I coached one of the Warriors, super powerful call, huge breakthroughs. And then I was by myself, and I did this exercise, and I was sitting on the chairs, and I just had like tears in my eyes, because it's like God was revealing the pain that I have associated with going all in, with giving my heart to something, with going 100%. And it's like, there's a lot of disappointment there. There's a lot of deception. There's a lot of heartbreak. There's a lot of pain. And so it's like, oh, no wonder why I only give everything 30%, 40%. And so I need to shift my perspective of giving 100%. And it's really giving 100% to the right things, because I've given 100% to the wrong things, the wrong situations, the wrong people, and it's backfired, and it's blown up in my face. And that has made me hesitant and scared to go all in on anything now, to give 100% anything now, to give my heart to anything now. And And so, because there's always this hesitation in the background, like, oh, I'm gonna get hurt, my heart's gonna get broken, this is gonna suck, and then I feel like an idiot. Like, I was looking back on some of the things, and it's like, after, I gave my heart to something, or I went all in on something and it backfired on me, it was just like, wow, Chris, you're such an idiot. How could you not see that? How could you not expect that? It was so obvious. Like, wow. And so that frustration with myself and that disappointment in myself. And so I get on the call to do it, and everyone's just lit up. They're just on fire. We're sharing testimonies. We're speaking life into people. And we do testimonies for an hour. And then we get to the end of the call, because it can only be an hour, because I have to jump into church, because we have our big, group thing at 7. And so we get to the end of the hour, and it's like, we just finished doing testimonies. And that was just with 5 people. Like, it's crazy. And I was just like, as we're going through it, I'm looking at the time, I'm like, man, God, we can't, like, so much of our calls now are just testimonies. And I'm like, God, like, how am I going to fix this? And God's like, what is there to fix? Like, you're glorifying me. Like, and we're speaking life into each other, and we're encouraging each other. We're encouraging our faith. Like, we're increasing our faith by hearing the testimonies of other people. And it's like, why would we ever change that? Like, you think your teaching is more important than my glory? You think your teaching is more important than the testimonies that I'm creating in them? Like, and it was just like this, like, whoa, like this checking of my heart, this conviction of my heart. And I was just like, all right, guys, the thing that I had planned for us to do today, the exercise, we're going to do it tomorrow morning. And I was just like, it was just so incredible to the conversation we were having, and lifting people up, like my mom realizing how much of an inspiration she is, and how strong she's been, going from this house to that house with all these crazy women who are, addicted to drugs and alcohol, that are trying to get their lives sober, but they're not. And my mom's had to put up with all these crazy women, and just like women who look at her and hate her because she's such a bright, shining light, and demonic people. It's just like, and she just keeps passing the test, and God just keeps upgrading her. And she's just such an inspiration to the Warriors of God group. And, it's just like, God was just showing me so much about them, like each of them and their roles and the role they play. And it was just incredible. It's just such an amazing space to be in. And it was amazing. So that was great. So we'll do the exercise tomorrow. And one of the Warriors, she stepped out. She did a Facebook Live interview. I can't wait to watch it. And just see her come alive was just incredible, because I've been coaching her for probably a year now. And to see her go from disconnected to connected, and to see that life in her was just like, thank you, Lord. Like, I knew she had it in her. Thank you, God, for bringing that out of her. And so it's just so amazing to see these warriors bloom. It's like flowers that are blooming, and it's just the most beautiful thing to me. And it's so encouraging and inspiring. And it's just like, I just want to fight for them more. I want to do more for them. Like, I just want them to go to the next level and the next level, and then just change the world and point to God. Just change the world and point to Jesus. Produce so much fruit and point to Jesus, and just lead millions of souls back to Jesus. And it's just such an honor to be able to lead these people. Like, such an incredible honor. And then I go into the service, and it just so happens our pastor and his wife, they're talking about like your pursuit of Jesus and being on fire for God. And I'm sitting there, and he's like, an example, someone who immediately comes to mind when I think about people who are really on fire for God is my brother Chris. And he like calls me out in front of the whole group, and just acknowledges, the fire and the passion that I have. And I just like, I really appreciated that, because, there's 700 people in our church. And when he thinks about someone on fire, the first person he thinks about is me. It was just like, because I don't know if other people see it at the church. I know Warriors of God see it for sure, but I don't know if other people at the church see it. So to see that he noticed it and that he sees it, it's like, okay, God, like, I'm shining my light, and I just want people to see what that fire looks like, and to want it and desire it and pursue that. And so that was just a cool moment of like confirmation from God of like, yeah, people see your light. Keep doing what you're doing. And then we got into our groups, and while our pastor was speaking and his wife, they were speaking, I just had this like little creative little moment of like, you know what, in my group, I'm gonna have everyone analyze how on fire they are. And so I came up with 4 categories: a candle. So how on fire are you for God? A candle, a campfire, a bonfire, or a forest fire. Now I know that I need to simplify it to 3 because 4 is hard for us to remember, but basically a campfire, a bonfire, and a forest fire. And I handed out a piece of paper. Well, when we started the call, I passed around the bucket. Everyone put your phone in here. Like prayed us in. Like it was just like setting the tone. And then I gave everyone a piece of paper and a pen. And I said, I want you to write down which one of these are you? And then I want you to write down why, and then what's missing that would take you to the next level. If you're a campfire, what's missing that would take you to a bonfire? If you're a bonfire, what's missing that would take you to a forest fire? And as guys are going around, they're sharing. Like, it was just so cool. I was asking questions. It was getting super like interactive. It was just a really cool exercise to do. And I was like, I'm gonna have this on my website, like for sure. This is gonna be so good in Warriors of God. Like, I'm gonna have them take it, you know, when people go to the website, it's like, you know, take the on fire quiz. How on fire are you for God? Are you a candle? Are you a campfire, bonfire, or forest fire? And as everyone was talking, I was getting more like about the metaphor. You know, it's like a campfire's private. You know, it's just, it will warm a few people, but it's private. No one walks up to someone else's campfire and just sits down. You know, it's private. But a bonfire is public, and it's big, and it attracts people walking on the beach, and they want to come around and hang out. And, you know, it's got a lot of heat. And it's like the campfires, like, you know, the believer who, you know, they have their clique at church, and they have their believer friends, but they never talk about God outside of church. You know, they're not posting on social media. They're not having conversations. So it's private, just like a campfire is private. A bonfire is public, you know, and they're sharing their faith on social media. They're talking to people about God. And then a forest fire is when you're just totally on fire for God, just like everywhere you go, like people around you just catch on fire because your faith is so powerful. And, you know, I'm thinking like, you know, and then there's the candle where it's just like, you basically, you don't have any faith. You know, you're one blow away from your faith completely disappearing. And, you know, just thinking about the thing, like, you know, the same wind that blows out the candle fuels the forest fire. And just, I'm like, man, there's a sermon in that right there. Like, and so we were going around and sharing it, and it was such a good exercise. It was so cool. And then at the end, the guy that I met with today for coffee, he was like, I see what you're doing there. That was legit, man. Like, that was so good. And when I was driving home, I was just thinking like, yeah, one of the gifts that God has given me is taking something spiritual and making it practical. Like taking something that's spiritual and making it tangible, taking something spiritual and turning it into an actual practical, tangible exercise that someone can do, where they can sit down, write, do the exercise, have a breakthrough, have a transformation. And, you know, that's what he was saying he needs, and church needs so much, is how do we take the spiritual and make it practical? And I just feel so blessed because the last 10 years I've been in personal development, and for the last 7 years I've been coaching. And, no, that's not true. The last 7 or 8 years I've been coaching. And I have all these practical tools that now I get to apply spirituality to. And in doing that, it's a totally different experience of spirituality for people. Like, it's just a totally different experience. And it really helps people take their faith and make it a lifestyle. And so I was just driving home realizing like, wow, God, there's such an empty space in the world of believers where it's like, how do you bring the spiritual and the practical together to create a lifestyle? It's like, because if it's just spiritual, but you don't have the practical, there's no lifestyle. And if it's just practical without spiritual, it's just personal development. But when you can bring the spiritual and combine it with the practical, then you have a lifestyle. And those are the believers who are on fire. They're applying the Bible, and they're actually living it, not just reading it. And so God has given me this amazing gift of creating all these exercises, and I usually just make them up like on the spot. And it's just a gift that I've always had, that God has given me, just winging it. the gift of winging it and coming up with exercises and tools and tips and tricks that are just like, wow, that's really powerful. So it was just amazing. It was just such a good experience. And yeah, I just feel very at peace with it. So it's 9:54. I need to go inside. I haven't had dinner yet. Didn't really have lunch either. There's a good chance I'm not going to be going to the 5 a.m. class in the morning because I'll have to wake up at 4:30. So it's 10 now. 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I went to bed immediately and fell asleep immediately, I'd sleep 6.5 hours. That's not going to happen. So there's a good chance I'm not going to go tomorrow. I'll still go to the gym. Like I still went to the gym today. But I need to figure out on Wednesdays and Thursdays how am I gonna do it, because not Wednesdays and Thursdays, Mondays and Thursdays, because Monday nights I'm at church until 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and then these nights I'm at church until like 9:30 or close to 9:30. So on Monday nights and Thursday nights, I need to like pack dinner. I need to have everything set up so I can come home and just go straight to bed. That's the only way I'm going to be able to wake up at 4:30 the next day and not be totally exhausted and just, yeah. So that's all right. That's a process. That's what I've remembered. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. Like, yeah, it doesn't need to be perfect, and I'm going to figure it out. And it just takes a little bit more planning. I just need to plan better on these days, and I haven't taken any time to plan for these days. Like, okay, what time am I going to get home? What do I have to do to be able to get in bed and fall asleep and sleep 6 to 8 hours? So when I go to the gym and I do this crazy intense workout, I'm not like fainting or passing out because I'm physically exhausted because I slept 5 hours or 4 hours. So it's all right. I'll figure it out, and God's going to help me figure it out because God wants me to succeed. And yeah, so today is just full of so many breakthroughs, so much transformation, just incredible. Like just, I mean, I look at today alone and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 massive testimonies. 7 massive testimonies. That's incredible. That's incredible. You want to know I'm on fire for God? Because I see God working in my life like crazy every day. Like, how could you not be on fire for God when you can look at one day and you've got 7 huge testimonies? These are not tiny testimonies. These are big testimonies. So, actually 8 now that I think about it. Wow. I should write these down and go over it with the Warriors tomorrow morning. And I was driving home and I was thinking, like, man, you guys with Warriors of God, like, if you miss a call, like, don't miss calls. These calls are so good. They're such fire. God has given us so much. Like, you're one call away from a completely different future. You're one call away from the blessing. You're one call away from the prayer. You're one call away from the life-changing moment. You're one call away from the chains being broken. Like, these calls, like, you got to be on them because they're just so powerful. You don't want to miss a call. Like, God is just doing so much so quickly. Every call is the fast forward button. And yeah, it's like, if you miss the call tonight, like, you just missed out on something massive. You know, thank God they're recorded so people can watch them. But it's like, man, you don't want to miss a call. You just don't want to miss a call. So, yeah. But yeah, I need to get some sleep. So I'm not waking up at 4:30. That's actually silly if I think about it, because wow, I only get to sleep an extra 30 minutes because I have to wake up at 5 a.m. no matter what, because that's on my battle calendar. Wow. And so actually I only sleep an extra 15 minutes because I wake up at 4:45 anyway to make sure I'm out of bed at 5 a.m. Like, I'm standing out of my bed when the clock hits 5 a.m. So really, it's only a 15-minute difference. The difference is the intensity of the workout. That's what it is. Wow, I didn't even, that's so absurd to even think about. Wow. It's the intensity of the workout. The HIIT class, the 1 hour class, is way more intense than me going to the gym and jogging for a mile and lifting some weights. Just totally different level of intensity. And there's just a different level of energy that I need to be able to do it. And like when I woke up this morning and I'm driving halfway there, I turn around because I could feel like my body is like, I felt the exhaustion. Like I was sure that if I go try to work out when I have this little energy, like I'm gonna faint or I'm gonna puke or I'm gonna get lightheaded or whatever. It was just like, my body was like a hard no. Yeah, that's interesting. This is cool though, because I'm learning and I'm committed. I'm all in. There's no going back, no going back, no going back. So it's just like, I don't need to worry about it because I'm not just trying to lose 20 pounds real quick. Like I want to be healthy the rest of my life. So this is a life journey. It's not just a quick fix. So I'll figure it out as I go. So yeah, that's great. Thank you, God. Thank you for such an incredible day. All right, I'm gonna write my testimonies so I can show these warriors, like, guys, there's so many testimonies every day. And if you are not experiencing all these testimonies, then you got to take your obedience to a new level. You got to open your eyes more to what God's doing, because we're called to be a demonstration of his declaration. All right.